A former WWE superstar teases a match against a current AEW star. Plus, we have an update on a match internally listed for Double or Nothing that is yet to be announced. Plus, an update on the Rampage start time this week. All this and more in today's AEW news. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestle News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. Let's start off talking about Johnny Gargano. Now, Johnny Gargano has been linked to AEW for a while now, certainly, and he has yet to arrive in the company, even though the AEW on TV Twitter account last week thought he did when the former John Morrison showed up. Johnny Gargano is here. No, he's not. That's Johnny Elite. Yes, bit of a mistake there. But no one yet knows what Johnny Gargano's next move will be, though he is going to be supposedly discussing it at Starrcast 5 in late July. For now, though, fans are just going to have to settle for any teasers from the former NXT champion, like his appearance yesterday on the vlog of AEW star Sammy Guevara. Now, Gargano can be seen in the opening minutes of the latest episode of Guevara's long-running vlog. Must be said, I don't watch it, but apparently he is on there, coming across the three-time TNT champion and his girlfriend, fellow AEW wrestler Tay Conti. Bear in mind about that. We're going to talk about that in a second. The footage appears to be from a signing for Maryland Championship Wrestling on May 15, where all three took part in the signing. So they tease a match, all that kind of stuff. People can look into it many different ways. Does this mean Johnny Gargano's coming to AEW? Rah, rah, rah. I mean, you never know. You never know. I think that seems the most likely destination, certainly. I think a lot of people thought that Gargano and Candice LeRae, because of course her contract with WWE is now expired, they were going to be the pair of Jokers. It was going to be a quite sort of novel aspect to the Jokers in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament for both the men and the females. Gargano was going to be in the men's tournament, and Candice LeRae was going to be in the females tournament. That didn't happen, obviously. But I think eventually the chances are very, very, very high that Johnny Gargano is going to land in All Elite Wrestling. But I've said several times here on the channel, and I still think it's accurate now, especially as we head into a big pay-per-view weekend like this coming weekend with Double or Nothing. Johnny Gargano's doing the exact right thing by doing nothing at the moment when it comes to major companies. I really believe that to be accurate. We have seen so many times over the course of, say, the last 18 months. And the last 18 months have been completely different as well, not just coming out of the pandemic, but also because of just the sheer volume of free agents there have been on the market, particularly from WWE with all the budget cuts and all that kind of stuff. There has been such an influx of talent to AEW that now we're starting to see actually it pays to be patient, and it pays to actually not go to AEW straight away, and it pays to have people be curious about you, because look at some of the people that have left WWE for various reasons, whether it's their contract expiring or it's because they got released. They jump to AEW, and because there are just so many people coming through the door immediately, they do get lost in the shuffle. They end up on Rampage where they're not doing that much, or you come to a pay-per-view weekend like this weekend and not many people are really talking that much about, say, what Keith Lee's doing or Swerve Strickland. Yes, they're going to be involved in the tag title match, but still it's this that kind of, it's not that no one cares, that's probably not fair, but the point being that they do get lost in the shuffle. Who are the people that people are still talking about right now? The people that people are still talking about are the people still on the free agency list. Whether it's Johnny Gargano, whether it's Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt, whether it is Cesaro, because they haven't made that jump right now and they still have people talking, that's how you keep your name meaning something and valuable. Now, eventually, as I mentioned, Johnny Gargano, I'm almost certain, will go to AEW. I think it's the right fit for him, but I do think there's value in not doing it straight away, because the debut, it has become some of a running joke, hasn't it, with AEW? There's a new person debuting every week and all this kind of stuff. You need to take a step back and go, okay, when am I going to be able to make the most impact? When am I going to have the most value? And when Johnny Gargano is going to have the most value is when there isn't a debut every single week, when there hasn't been a debut for 3 months. Now, is that ever going to happen in AEW? I don't know. But I do expect Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae, for that matter, to end up in AEW at some point. And frankly, I would expect them to be feuding with Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti. I mean, they come in as a couple, they feud with a couple. That does make sense. But right now, Sammy Guevara is involved in the feud with Scorpio Sky, an American top team, and now's not the right time, shall we say. We've got All Out coming later on this year. Maybe that would be the right time for Johnny Gargano. Speaking of Guevara and Conti, though, there is a match that has been internally listed. It's not announced as of right now. Now, the stat card for Double or Nothing may see another match added to the pay-per-view this coming weekend. According to a new report from Wrestling Observer Radio, which basically, it's Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, and they speak to Tony Khan, so it's true. This one is true. Another match in the ongoing feud between Sammy Guevara and TNT champion Scorpio Sky is reportedly, quote, internally listed for the next AEW pay-per-view. However, this time, the tentative plan is for the women to be involved in the feud also. Paige Van Zandt and Tay Conti, they're also going to be competing in this match. As of last weekend, the plan was to have Scorpio Sky or Ethan Page team up with Paige Van Zandt to take on Guevara and Conti in a mixed-gender tag team match. AEW could ultimately choose to handle the feud, though, in another way on the show, or schedule the mixed tag team match for a later date. It must be said, the show doesn't need it. For me, the card already, look, it's a good card, and there are matches that I'm certainly looking forward to, but knowing how these pay-per-view works, and I've complained about it when it comes to WWE, so you have to keep the same energy when it comes to AEW. That card is a big card. It's going to be a long show. Not necessarily say it's going to be a bad show or anything like that, but you watched it, or you saw it for AEW Revolution earlier this year. Great card, great show, but there were times, and you can go back and watch it, that crowd was tired. And they weren't, and not that they weren't into it, but especially with how these shows are paced as well, like every match is great, and that's fantastic, but shows have to build, and I think there is an art that's certainly lost to that. Shows have to build. Not every match should be a 4 or 5 star match, and you do look at that card, and every match is going to be great, but the crowd's going to be tired at some point. They just have to be. They have to be tired at some point. And that's what happened. I remember the Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley at Revolution. Great match. It was a great match. But at points, the crowd was tired because it was in the middle of the show, or 3/4 through the show. They'd seen already great stuff, and they only really popped when William Regal came out in the end. So when you're talking about adding a mixed tag to that show, I'm going, how long is this show going to be? And there's going to be times where the crowd's tired. On top of that, let's be honest, this feud does absolutely nothing for me. I mean, the TNT Championship, I'm not going to say it's meaningless at this point. That's probably not fair. But the amount of title changes they've done this year and the way that it's been handled, I don't even really know who the babyface or the heel is in this feud. I mean, for a while it looked like it was going to be Scorpio Sky and American Top Team, but they kind of did a swerve. And is it Sammy Guevara now and Tay Conti? Because it hasn't made him any more likable. People still don't like him. People still boo them. So I don't know. I don't know. The feud is doing nothing for me. The TNT Championship at this point has been devalued. And it's a shame because I do look back at some of those earlier TNT Championship matches or champions. Credit where it has to be. Cody Rhodes, Brody Lee, Miro, I think, did an excellent job as the TNT champion, and it just doesn't feel as valuable anymore. And that's a shame. That is a shame. And the problem is it's one thing to build up value. It's very difficult to get it back when you've lost it. So we'll wait and see if an announcement is made about that one. Let's talk about Rampage this week when it comes to the time for Rampage, because reportedly Rampage's airtime is a bit up in the air coming into this Friday's episode. Now, for those looking to plan their Friday around when AEW Rampage will be airing, not many of you, I'm going to be honest, you may want to pump the brakes on that, as a tweet from Dave Meltzer has suggested it's currently unclear as to when the show will be going live. Meltzer said, quote, "The start time for Friday's Rampage is up in the air. They announced 5:30 p.m. on Friday, but it depends on the hockey, and there are multiple possible scenarios." And this has kind of been a situation with Rampage recently, of course, with these sort of 5:30, 6 o'clock airings because of the hockey and because of the playoffs and all that kind of stuff. So it's difficult because, as Meltzer notes, the potential schedule change is a result of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, which are currently in their second round. Game 6 for both the Colorado Avalanche and the St. Louis Blues series, and the Florida Panthers Tampa Bay Lightning series are tentatively scheduled for a Friday. But with Tampa 3-0 up and Colorado up 2-1, it is possible that both series could be completed before Friday even rolls around. Unlike most Rampage episodes, the May 27 show will air live on TNT, the first 2 consecutive Friday Rampage episodes to do so. It's likely that an announcement regarding this will be made soon, but we do have an update on this as of right now. Late on Monday evening, Meltzer provided a further clarification as to when fans could expect Rampage to air. He said, quote, "Update on Rampage Friday after the game. Rampage will either air at 6:30 p.m. on Friday if there is a Colorado versus St. Louis game. If that series is over, Rampage will air at 10 p.m. in the regular time slots. In Vegas, the show will start at 3 p.m. local time." So there's lots of different ways. As I mentioned, I'm sure as we get closer to the time, AEW will make an announcement regarding this. To be honest, does it really matter? No, because Rampage, if you watch it, it's not necessarily a bad show. You watch it, you go, that's okay. But it's not a meaningful show. If you don't watch it, you don't miss much. And that reflects in the ratings. Now, you could argue it gets moved around a lot. It's not in the best time slot. I understand that. I do understand that. But as a show, it's the B show. Not a lot of people watch it. And that's because there isn't a need to. You know, people will watch a show, even in a difficult time slot, if they need to. If they need to keep up with the AEW storylines and something big is going to happen on the show, they'll watch it. But most weeks, you can skip Rampage and it doesn't affect Dynamite. And that's the problem. That's ultimately why not a lot of people watch it. Yes, the time slot sucks. Yes, it's taped most weeks, all that kind of stuff. But the biggest problem is that it's just not meaningful, in my opinion. Anyway, guys, be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. And I'll speak to you again very, very soon.